The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to Databank Brawl, the podcast where we learn about Star Wars characters, discuss them, share our little feelings about those characters, and then make the characters fight for our amusement and yours. I am your host. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. With me, as always, is Ken Napzok.
Happy to be here.
This is, Ken, a very special episode. It's our 100th episode, and we are delighted to be able to be joined by Jennifer Landa.
Hello, I would be throwing confetti in the air if I had some.
Jennifer just mimed confetti, which is the true spirit of Databank Brawl. Something fun and ridiculous.
Yes.
Woo!
Here we
100
are.
episodes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's kind of insane. I kind of can't actually believe it or process it.
Yeah, I mean, this is all credit to you, Joseph, for creating this fun show that allows us to just be uber Star Wars dorks and successful improvers at times, confused improvers at other times.
Yes.
Trying to put it all together. This was such a wonderful, just, simple idea and concept, which is why it works so well. It's like, we got two Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
Let's fight them.
Let's have them fight.
Do it.
Yeah, and it really evolved very quickly because I thought maybe it would just be a discussion, and I love that it immediately evolved into like, no, we have to tell the story.
How did that? Because you've said that a few times, and I know because this was like, hey, the X-wing versus TIE fighter, what's better? That stuff happens a lot in Star Wars talk. What was your original thought? Because I won't say vision because it was open ended, but
yeah,
thought.
I mean, I still have my notes that I use every day, and I just wrote down like, where is it taking place? How are they feeling? What are their resources? How do they win? I didn't really realize I was setting up a structure for storytelling, but I wanted it to just be like, wouldn't be like, well, our very first episode was Dengar versus Lobot, so I didn't want the conversation to just be like, well, Dengar would punch him real hard, like, but where are they? Does Lobot have act in that just? Our very first episode that you and I sat down to do, Ken, just naturally evolved into telling a whole story, beginning, middle, and horrible end.
And it's taken a life of its own. I really think it started to really, really work in episode 2 with Lor San Tekka.
Yeah.
Once we had this vision of Lor San Tekka fighting and winning, I think that came out of the story we were telling, not the facts on a page.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the facts on the page, if this is the first time you're listening, for some reason, which is great, please, I don't mean it like for some crazy. We always want people to be listening for the first time. And the 100th. So we get all of the information about the characters from the StarWars.com databank. So the fight is one part of it. That's the juicy, fun part of it. But at the same time, I also just love seeing what Star Wars officially says on their website about the characters. Get to learn lots of fun details about small, weird characters. In that second episode with Tasu Leech, we learned that his blaster is called a hut splitter.
Right.
Oh.
It's that kind of weird, fun details that we've got to discover. Sometimes they're super judgmental. Sometimes they have nothing to say about very famous characters. And then a ton to say about not famous characters. So that's kind of why we do what we do. That's what we're here for. But I also want to say, if this is the first time you're listening, we normally do smaller characters. It's normally our chance to get to know the weirdos, to get to spend time with Bistan versus Shore Trooper and things like that. But we also do a thing where we unlock special episodes where we have major characters. And a while back, we asked people to get us to a certain number of reviews on Apple Podcasts. And listeners kindly blew us past that goal. So I figured, let's celebrate with our 100th episode with 2 major characters.
Wow.
It always scares me.
I know, me too.
I know.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yes, there's suddenly responsibility to this dumb thing, right? That's the way it feels, but it's not. It's still the same dumb show.
It's your feelings of hurting or killing Neeper's panpick is a lot different versus a classic character or something like that.
Yeah, but we've done it successfully. We've had Obi-Wan and Boba Fett fight. We had a big epic cape battle between Lando and Orson Krennic.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the 100th episode, so we had to go real special. Are you guys ready for your first combatant?
Pens are out.
Now, normally, when I read the name of the character, there is looks of confusion, shock, amusement, frantic typing. This will only be, I think, looks of recognition and perhaps dread fear, because our first combatant is Emperor Sheev Palpatine.
Oh my God.
He had to wade in eventually in, I think, 100 episodes. is reason for
This
Emperor Palpatine.
will be the toughest for you, I think.
Oh, I know. This is gonna be very challenging for me. Here's what the official StarWars.com databank has to say about our beloved Sheev. Scheming, powerful, and evil to the core, Darth Sidious restored the Sith and destroyed the Jedi Order. Living a double life, Sidious was in fact Palpatine, a Naboo senator, and Phantom Menace. He slowly manipulated the political system of the Galactic Republic until he was named Supreme Chancellor and eventually Emperor, ruling the galaxy through fear and tyranny. It's official databank entry. And after 100 episodes, I still get surprises and delight by he was a Naboo senator and Phantom Menace. Like, that's something you have on a business card. Well, I'm a plumber, and on the weekends, a Phantom Menace.
I'd put that on my Twitter bio.
You should. Jennifer Landa loves crafts and cocktails. Phantom Menace.
But, this is surprisingly, I don't want to say short, but I've seen some really long databank entries for some really minor characters.
Yeah.
On the shorter side.
Well, so which can I ask you, which one are you looking on?
I'm looking on StarWars.com.
Oh, you're going to StarWars.com. Gotcha.
Okay, so Ken takes us to the wilds of Wikipedia.
Yes,
and that I would imagine is lengthy.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
why I
gosh.
I didn't. Yeah, that is a short data bank for the guy who is the Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah.
No, the canon tab. I mean, it's. I'm still scrolling. I'm still scrolling.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
wouldn't want it any other way. This great character.
Yeah, Databank does this thing where it's the main entry, but then for larger characters, they break them up sort of by era, which is it's a lower part of the entry, and to read that would take a long time. That's his main entry.
one.
That makes
Which I think,
sense.
Phantom Menace, the reveal that he is canonically, for sure, the Phantom Menace. That's
Right.
that's a lot. So for people who don't know what Emperor Palpatine looks like, why are you listening to this podcast? But Ken, give us just a nice, juicy description, just to get us in the mood of Emperor Palpatine.
Emperor Palpatine is in a beautiful, wonderful, pristine black robe with a cowl and a hood covering his grotesquely deformed, ruined by his own force lightning face that is kind of looks like a piece of fruit melted, slowly in the process of melting, I should say. Yellow, evil eyes. And, of course, the voice that we all love.
That is definitely Palpatine. Avocado a day too late.
Yeah, that's it. And then, of course, depending on the situation, he has a nice walking cane.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And Jennifer, are you pulling up any favorite photos of Palpatine? Do you have a favorite photo?
I don't have a favorite photo of him. Whenever I think of him, I just think of his eyes, these frightening. To me, he is like the iconic villain of my childhood.
Yeah.
There will never be anyone scarier for me besides the shark from Jaws than this guy. When I was a kid growing up, he's wearing this dark cloak and these like orange eyes.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
frightening.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Shriveled face.
very, very convincing at just depicting evil.
And rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rotten. And I think that's the thing, too, of like, I have the headcanon. It's not just disfigured by his own force lightning, but he has that little mumble like, I can't hold it.
Yeah.
That's his true face. He's that evil. This is what my insides look like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just
Little
gonna let
Large
it-
Marge from Pee Wee coming out.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
He
gosh.
just lets all the evil
Yeah.
hang out now because he's in charge of the galaxy.
I like that a lot because when he dies in Jedi, I've always, I don't know the official view on it. I don't know. Maybe there's a canon answer. But that sound that when he dies and explodes.
Yeah.
I've always, to me, that's the evil being released inside of him.
Yeah, there's like all of this, horror trapped in him.
Yeah.
It just explodes.
Yeah.
Right.
Base of the shaft. Ken, any other details? Sometimes you give us from Wikipedia height, weight, all that stuff.
Yeah, oh boy, I've scrolled too far down. I'm going to read something first, then go into some details.
Yeah, go for it.
I love this description of him. To those who had been at his non-existent mercy, Sidious was known to be exceptionally sadistic, and he often took visible pleasure in torturing others. He was similarly quite bloodthirsty as well, and frequently revealed in combat to the point of laughing while he fought or killed others. I love that because that accounts for the.
He's just that delighted. It's like if, a kid with birthday cake when he sees Yoda in pain, he's just like, so great.
So though I do have some statistics. Born 84 years before the Battle of Yavin.
All right.
On Naboo, of course. We know died 4 years after that. So pushing 90, the time of his death. I like that there. Species human, gender male. Height 1.73 meters. Mass 75 kilograms. He maintained a good weight late in life. Hair color red, later white. Eye color blue and yellow. And it has a parentheses, dark side.
Not conjunctivitis.
Yeah, skin color light, later pale. So this is the movement of his character there.
This is really awesome. I feel like this is the origin, a standalone film I want to see. Even as a child, Palpatine was demonstrated to be manipulative, psychopathic, and self-centered. This was especially evident by his frequent breaking of various rules and social norms, knowing full well that his father, whom he hated, would simply pay off the authorities to make the problem disappear.
I think that stuff is all from the Darth Plagueis novel, right?
Yeah.
Are you on the canon tab?
I am on the canon tab.
Oh, wow, interesting.
No, but you're right. It is from wait a minute. It is from the Darth Plagueis novel.
The Wilds of Wikipedia.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And maybe. Oh no, I'm sorry, guys. I'm in the Legends. I thought it was canon.
Fine. Well, we can make it canon in our minds. That is just fine. All right. So we always talk about our feelings about the character. Jennifer, you talked a little bit about the evil. I mean, this character is fascinating because we just knew him as the Emperor. Back when Return of the Jedi came out, those of us who were alive, then he became Emperor Palpatine. Then he became Emperor Sheev Palpatine. We got to know Senator Palpatine. How do you feel about that whole character now that you've gone on a journey through life with Sheev, Jennifer?
He's held up as a villain. He has held up through every appearance that he has made. It's something that I enjoy now as an adult, watching this character continue to appear. Yeah. It's like, it's juicy. He's a great villain.
Yeah.
And so I relish his appearances. Gosh, in the prequels, just, the way that Ian McDiarmid, it was just brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. So, like when Anakin first turns, and it seems like he wants to eat him almost. Like, it's strong.
Look at him
I could go for a burger.
Piece of steak.
Yeah. It's evil. It's gross. Ken, how do you feel about Palpatine these days?
I love Palpatine, which is not right, but I love Palpatine. And you're right. In 1983, it was an evil guy in a robe that was kind of scary. We're not going to turn this into a Snoke discussion, but I love that idea that all this that we know now has unrolled, it's unfurled in front of us over time. But back then, it was just like, the guy he was kind of mentioned in the first movie. You saw him a little bit in Empire. Well, now here he is. This is kind of all you know about him. He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's Vader's teacher, master, boss.
Yeah.
And so that's grown on. So this character, I think in a weird way, we've all grown with this character. We've grown up with good old Sheev.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of the prequels is absolutely McDiarmid coming back and delivering this great performance over the top in the most juicy way by the time Sith rolled around. I love it. I'll make fun of unlimited power all day, but that's one of my favorite moments in Star Wars.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Palpatine is one of my favorite characters because I think he does capture so much about Star Wars of like true evil. Like it's possible to be just truly evil and truly delight in pain, and that's what the dark side represents. And you can go down all these great thematic discussions with that. And then his manipulation of the Senate has opened such doors for talk about how politics work in the real world. And then on top of all of that he is true to the roots of Star Wars. He's a B-movie, scenery-chewing, just bizarre villain.
And charming, too, in the prequels.
Yeah.
That's what I love, is that George Lucas shows us in Jedi that this character is true evil. He looks evil. He looks like a bad guy. But then when you see him in the prequels, it's a different form of evil that can trick you. Yeah. Beware, children. These evil people can charm the pants off of you.
Yeah, it's like Insidious, which is maybe where that name came from, since it was not Subtletown during the prequels. Darth Insidious. Let's just cut off the ends. Insidious. Yeah, love this character. So it will be amazing to see this character fight. Are you ready for your next combatant.
I mean,
gosh.
who could defeat the Emperor
I
other
don't
than
know,
Vader?
guys.
I don't know.
Who
don't
could
know.
possibly defeat Emperor Palpatine? Well, maybe Supreme Leader Snoke.
Oh,
my.
let's turn this into a Snoke conversation.
Oh, jeez. All right. Here we go.
Here is what StarWars.com Databank has to say. The Supreme Leader of the First Order, the mysterious Snoke, has no permanent base of operations, preferring to contact his underlings from a mobile command post. Snoke is powerful with the dark side of the Force and seduced Ben Solo into abandoning the Jedi path to become his apprentice. But Snoke also commands General Hux in the technological war machine the First Order has engineered to destroy the New Republic and Leia Organa's resistance. Not a lot of flavor in that databank entry. It's just, this is who he is. This is what he does.
Right.
No additional details about why he prefers a shimmering golden robe. Nope.
Right.
Nope. Just
Nope.
Mystery Town with old Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yes.
Now, there are starting to be little bits and drips of other stuff from books and comics and whatnot. So, Ken, is there more in the wilds of Wikipedia about Supreme Leader Snoke?
There is a lot. I'm scanning through it here. I guess let me get the stats before I get too far away. And quite frankly, we don't have a lot of stats. We can say he was born prior to 19 years before the Battle of Yavin. We know he's been around a while, died 34 years after the Battle of Yavin. Species described as humanoid alien is what we're going with, right? Is that what it said? Yeah, okay. Gender, male. Height, around 7 feet. Hair color, white in terms of his eyebrows. Eye color, blue. That we do know. Skin color, very pale. Not later, just pale from the beginning. And then, other than that, you're right. We don't know a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's starting to poke through there. And I think the Force Awakens, the Last Jedi novel explained the most to me, but you got the sense of what he did in the unknown regions for the First Order. His rise to power was a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it happened. Some other leaders were there, and he worked his magic through that way. And I'm still looking for more personality traits. It just says, the Supreme Leader is wise.
Is that on Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supreme Leader that's a weird exchange. Physical appearance, we know that. I mean, the slippers, we know the damn slippers, which, it was there. It says for him to help deal with his ailing body.
Yeah. His body's messed up.
Yeah, constant state of pain due to his advanced age and wounds. And he could not defend himself in a physical fight, relying on his Praetorian guards. However, we saw with Kylo, he's got some power.
Powerful in the
yes.
dark side of the Force. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you have any pictures? Do you want to give just like juicy physical description of what he looks like?
So he's wearing this gold robe, which he shows off his slender frame. He has
It's a very nice way to say it.
long fingers and long fingernails that look kind of goldish, actually. It's not nail polish. It's just his natural fingernail color. He's actually looking like he's wearing like a gray thermal top underneath this gold robe, which I'd never noticed. He is
sensible type.
keep him warm. He is.
This is why he doesn't go out. He's wearing jammies.
Oh my goodness. He's very tall, obviously, but he does look like in his prime he would have been a threatening presence.
Yeah. He's got the big scar across the top of his head, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like little other mini scars.
There is like a mini scars on his cheeks.
Yeah, a little melty action going on there.
Exactly. And his neck is just like chicken skin.
Not good.
Not the good kind of chicken skin.
Not the fried chicken skin.
Yeah, he just looks. As I think Andy Serkis talked about how he's like literally like this. He's being warped by the evil physically as well.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, he can't contain it either. That
Right.
power in the dark side.
And there's a quote from Serkis that I think we've heard and discussed before, but I'll highlight it here. That I think it's interesting a little bit about Snoke's past. He's aware of what's gone on in that respect. He's been around and is aware of prior events. I think it'd be fair to say that he is aware of the past to a great degree.
Yeah. So for those who haven't read the Last Jedi book, it really just kind of lays out that he is this presence that has been talked about that's lurking in the unknown regions. kind of aware of what's going on in our galaxy, and then he takes over the First Order at some point and talks about how there are a lot of terrible things in the unknown regions that he maybe helped them deal with.
Right.
So, lots of fun mysteries. We got a quote for him on Wikipedia?
There's a lot, but I think let me go up to the top here, make sure. No, I think here's the number one quote they've given here. You wonder why I keep a rabid cur in such a place of power? I don't like that one as much as down the line here, which is there has been awakening. Have you felt it? Which I think was one of the first things of Force Awakens, and we were all like, "Oh, we heard that in the trailer." And we're like, "What's going on?"
That was great.
Even more amazing now that we know he wears jammies. Does he say that every morning when he gets up and puts on his slippers? There has been an awakening. Snoke is up.
Good pair of slippers is very important.
All right, let's talk feelings of these characters, and then we'll get about this character, and we'll get into our fight. Jennifer, how do you feel about Supreme Leader Snoke?
I love him. Now, when I saw him in The Force Awakens, I was like, oh, no, I don't like this character. He did kind of seem like a chalk villain for me.
Yeah.
And then Andy Serkis' performance in The Last Jedi really showed how this guy came to power. He is, like the Emperor, very charming. He can manipulate on another level. He's extremely powerful. I cannot wait to see these two villains fight.
Nice.
But I do like him. But I don't need to know where he came from. I just like him for who he is. I'll let the mystery just continue.
Yeah.
Nice. Ken, how about you?
I really do like Snoke a lot too, and I'm intrigued a lot about his past, and the answers I think will come eventually. I think honestly some of the answers aren't fully formed yet over Lucasfilm. That they intentionally just like he's been around, and we're gonna let you guys know at some point. I 100% agree with the decision to cut him literally in two in The Last Jedi. I think it's so compelling and interesting for the story. I was watching Return of the Jedi the other day, and that throne room scene. Then I was watching Last Jedi just yesterday, and the throne room scene, and I love them each for what they are, and I love the choice to make it a little different. That said, I'm very intrigued by what they've set up with Snoke and what might eventually pay off, including that ring that he wears that has something to do with Vader and something to do with Palpatine. So it's all
from
around
Mustafar, right?
Mustafar, and some of it's maybe some gold or something that art piece. Someone out there can let us remind us exactly. But point being, it speaks to him being very aware of the past, very aware of Vader, very aware of Palpatine. He's obsessed with Vader. He's afraid of Luke.
Yeah.
All those kind of things. So he's, to me, even though he's a small presence in the movies, in the story, in the saga of Star Wars, he still might be one of the bigger characters yet to come.
Yeah. I love this character. I want to hear his backstory. I think we are going to hear the seduction of Ben Solo story, the fall of Ben Solo, and that's in the rise of Snoke, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But for me, it's all about Andy Serkis' performance. He gave Snoke such life, and he really made him seem charming, like Palpatine when he was being a senator and a politician, but also just a jerk. He just seemed like Snoke would corner you at a party and like tell you what he thinks are obscure facts about a movie you already know, and just be a dick about it. Just a jerk. Like, well, I mean, it's that particular line of like, I told my apprentice that his equal in the light would rise. Skywalker, I presume. But no, it was such a jerk, which is just a great wrinkle.
Yeah, absolutely.
This wrinkly character.
You're absolutely right. This was one-dimensional guy. There's ability to tell a story with this character that comes from Serkis, which is why when you have Serkis, you can do so many wonderful things with him.
Yeah, that's right. And now we're going to get into this. There is this slim possibility that as you're listening to this recording, listeners, you can hear a car honking in the background. That is just because that car is so excited about this fight. If you can hear it, pay it no mind. It's the power of the dark side speaking. Yeah. And with that, let's fight. Okay, so the way we always do this is we're wild and crazy with what can happen in the fight and what can happen in canon, but this is just a strange, peculiar thing to me. I like to have the characters fight in a time that they're both still alive. We haven't done our World Between Worlds where we've plucked characters out of time yet.
We might need to, though.
I think we might need to. Real special, yeah. Maybe the 200th episode, it'll just be like 16 characters plucked at random times.
Wow.
But that means that these characters, we need to make up some fun headcanon about how Palpatine and Snoke could have met and crossed paths, angry dark side paths, while they're both still alive. So before the Battle of Endor.
Right.
Now I got some thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Do either of you have something that jumps to mind?
In terms of a location and everything that's going on, here's what I think. I think I want this to be on the planet from Galaxy's Edge.
Batu? Yeah.
Because it's kind of where a last jumping off point to things in the unknown regions and the known galaxy. Maybe there's some weird meeting place, but I'm open to ideas. I always get intrigued when you're like, oh, I've been thinking about this.
Oh, yeah. I think Batu is great. And as we're recording this, we know that it is going to be featured in the Thrawn Alliance's novel.
Right.
The one little preview bit we got, it's basically Palpatine sending Vader and Thrawn to Batu. Yep. So this will be interesting. So let's imagine that it is around that era. So let's say actually we'll set it in the middle of the Galactic Civil War. So Palpatine's got a lot going on. He's got a lot to manage, but he gets some intel about a presence on Batu. And we've seen in the Clone Wars, every once in a while, Palpatine will go and deal with something himself, like he went and dealt with Darth Maul and Savage Opress.
Right.
So I think he gets some intel, like there is a presence there that I must address.
There.
So, yeah.
I think Simulou's delivered the message, right?
Yeah, Simulou, and Janus Grijatis, his Imperial dignitaries have been whispering in his ear, literally.
Right.
And I think they're like, can we come with you? A new dark side presence. And I think that actually makes Palpatine a little like, no.
Yeah.
Like because they're like the dark side groupies. And they're like, what? A new dark side presence? Cool. And I don't think Palpatine like that.
No.
So I think
he's
he just.
a star.
Yeah, he's the star, right?
Yeah.
So I think he takes a shuttle, Jennifer. And I think he goes to Batu. And because we also know from the canon books that he disguises his appearance to look more healthy, he can probably just wander around in his dark robe and his cane, maybe stoop a little bit more, hide his yellow eyes, and just wander that marketplace in Batu, searching for a dark presence. Yeah. So do you think he does that?
I think he does. I think he wanders around and like a homing beacon. He's getting closer. He feels that dark side energy.
Like a cartoon where they have like the whiff of like smell of like a ham.
Oh, yes.
Like the way he visualizes it, he can see like these blue smoking tendrils of evil, and
Right.
he's walking around with his cane following them.
Yes.
Yes, I think he does. And he's going to like from stall to stall, like trader stall to trader stall.
Yeah.
Like, yes, people are like, you want to buy some pins, collector pins, enamel collector pins of your favorite characters? I mean, favorite things?
Yeah.
Plush. You want to buy a plush Jawa? What is that?
Yeah.
And he's just kind of moving around. And he can't ask the questions.
No, but then he senses something behind the churro stand.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a...
Wait,
Yes.
working the churro stand?
Well,
No.
Okay, just behind
the
it.
churro stand is like up against a building.
Okay, got
he
it.
smells something first, and he's like,
Yeah.
a churro.
Cinnamon.
Churro.
Hot.
Yes.
Delicious.
He's like, give me that. I want that. And
He's
he
eating the churro?
He eats a churro. Yeah, it's a space churro. It's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the person working the churro vendor, it's an Aqualish, like Ponda Baba, and they're like, does it taste okay? Because everybody who's been buying a churro, they've been kind of like rotting and gross, and I just baked them this morning. I don't understand what's going on. And Puppy's like, tastes good to me.
I really want some fan art, maybe Brian Ward, if you're listening, of steeped over cane using Palpatine munching on a churro, a space churro.
Chewing a space churro.
Cinnamon on his
boy.
face.
Oh, yeah.
And on his hands.
It gets all over my hands. Yes. So
yeah.
I think the Aqualish is asking his opinion on this, and he's
Yeah.
like, it'll do.
Yeah.
I've had better space churros, but this will do.
And I think then he just goes around the back.
Yeah.
I think he maybe even does like a hand wave of a force power we haven't seen him use, where the
Sir, that's cast members only.
exactly.
No,
and the Aqualicious forgets that. Like, that's cast, but he's a cast member. Right? What's my name? It's a really
a weird time, but
mean mind trick.
He force pushes his way past this access door. And in the underworkings of Batu.
So he goes behind into this darkened building. And Jennifer, what is the first thing he sees in this darkened building?
He sees a little rat, a space rat, womp rat, just kind of scurrying about. So he knows he's getting closer.
Because rats are evil?
Rats are evil.
I mean, I raised rats as a kid. I can tell you they're evil.
Yeah. And I think that Palpatine is very curious. Like, is this some creature? It looks like a womp rat, but it's not right. It's like its eyes are glowing.
Oh, yeah.
And and it's all spiky and grotesque. So Palpatine reaches out and he says, "Come here." And he calls it to him. And suddenly, the womp rat is frozen in the middle of the air. Palpatine doesn't like things being taken from him. He wants to investigate this, so he pulls harder, and the womp rat rips apart. And emerging from the shadows, how could Palpatine have not seen it? The robe is so loud.
Yeah.
The shimmering, golden-robed figure that we know to be Supreme Leader Snoke at this time is not Supreme Leader Snoke.
No.
It is Snoke the Curious. That is how he is known.
Yes.
In the unknown regions. And he's twisted, scarred, but not as twisted and scarred yet.
Yeah.
And he steps forward. And what does Snoke say?
He looks him right in the eyes and it's like, Sheev Palpatine, I've been watching you from afar. Mistake after mistake, and I've been calling you.
I've been feeling your call. This Palpatine is trying to cover up his insecurity. He has not. Nobody has made him like he's concerned about Luke Skywalker, but he's got Vader on it. He's got some plans. He's foreseen some things. He thinks he'll figure it out.
Oh yeah.
This makes him nervous, and he's only been able to feel Snoke.
Right.
Snoke can see him. Oh,
yes,
so this makes him feel real inferior.
Yes.
So I think he says right away, like, "Have you come to challenge my rule?"
I'm not here to challenge your rule. I'm here to simply take it away from you.
Interesting. And then Snoke does something, Jennifer, extremely surprising with his body.
Right. At that point, he kind of like sachets away, like flips his golden robe. Come, and he takes that long finger and kind of beckons.
Oh yeah.
Beckons Palpatine.
Okay.
To follow him into this room.
Okay. So these doors slide open, and they've got this weird iconography on them, and it's something Palpatine has never seen before, and it. Snoke walks in, and it is full of weapons and relics, and Palpatine's partially enjoying it because it's just steeped in the dark side, but elements and flavors of the dark side that Palpatine, has not experienced before. So on the one hand, it's like, it's so good. He starts laughing and going, he's enjoying it so much, but at the same time, it makes him feel ignorant and small because clearly Snoke has set up this sanctum, this Sanctorum, to use the Doctor Strange term, this realm of dark side.
Well, and Palpatine's looking around and going, yes, you have great collection of things. It's like when I go to another person's house and I look at their Star Wars toys, you know? But Palpatine notices there is like an empty spot, like almost like a mannequin kind of sitting there, and Palpatine's like, "What is this for?" And Snoke is like, "Oh, that is where your robe is going to go after I kill you."
And he reaches his hand out, and Palpatine's robes begin to pull forward. And now Palpatine does not want his robes to be ripped off. That is offensive to him. And so I think he shouts out, unlimited foolishness. And the Force lightning comes jumping out of his fingers towards Snoke. But Snoke has been watching. So, Jennifer, he knows that's Palpatine's go-to move. And Snoke has other different dark side abilities. Does he let this lightning hit his already damaged, screwy body? Or does he block it in some fantastic way?
He does. He uses a force field.
Yeah.
So literally it's like boom, it like bounces off of this force field that he's able to put around himself. And Palpatine is just like never seen anything like this before.
So is it just in front or is it all around him?
It's like a bubble.
It's a force bubble.
A force bubble.
Evil force bubble.
A new power.
A new power. Right, so Palpatine doesn't like this. The lightning hits the bubble and it cascades all over it. This looks like just amazingly trippy. This looks like somebody would want to just get real high and watch this because the electricity bubbles around this weird sparking ball.
Right.
Now, Snoke responds by, I think, laughing. I knew you'd do that. How does he respond next? Now, Ken?
Snoke?
Yeah, how does Snoke respond, Ken?
He advances on Palpatine with the bubble still intact, and
He's rolling it like a hamster?
rolling
Like a
he's
hamster.
rolling in this bubble.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's like because he puts his hands out and his feet out, and he
Oh
rolls.
my gosh, like those big balls.
Yeah,
that
like
you
those
do.
big balls. And he
oh
like,
my gosh.
He rolls towards Palpatine, and Palpatine is like still like, and he gets that look on his face, like, oh, and
Like when Yoda throws the Senate pot at him. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh. And the bubble hits Palpatine square, just smacks up against
It
it.
smashes him. Yes. And I think Palpatine digs his fingers into the ball.
Yes.
And he actually bites it too, so he makes as much physical contact. And it's strange. It's palpable. It's like you can stick your fingers into it. And I think Palpatine does something he didn't even know he could do. He's learning so much. He yells, and the lightning comes from his fingers and out of his mouth.
Oh yeah.
And it literally bursts Snoke's bubble.
It's called it's called a force barf. It's a new
force
power.
barf. Yeah,
Force barf.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lightning reflux. It's sometimes
Lightning
called.
reflux. So the bubble explodes.
It bursts. It's gross. It's kind of fluidy. Like, how could it be that way?
It's like a ghost being destroyed in Ghostbusters or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got,
like
you can't
slime.
quite see it, but
Slime.
yeah, they got slimed, and it is disgusting. And I think Palpatine is frightened, so I think Palpatine goes in. He wants the knowledge, but he goes in for the kill because he's a little afraid. So I think he actually does get super close and lock his hands on Snoke's throat.
Oh.
Now, here I'm going to suggest something crazy. We do know that Snoke has more ability when it comes to using the Force as a tool to connect minds.
Yes.
So I think Snoke puts his hand on Palpatine's weird, bubbly eyebrows, plants it, and does something to Palpatine's mind. Jennifer, what do you think he does? Do you think he shows him like a highlight reel of Snoke's career? Just so he knows how afraid? Is it a best of Palpatine's failures? What is it?
He goes back into Legends
Yeah.
to when he was a child.
Right.
A sad little boy who just wanted his father's attention.
Right.
Couldn't get it.
And some friends at the schoolyard. Sheev's got a stupid face.
Picked on him.
What kind of a dumb name is that? Sheev?
You'll never have powers.
He's got little high pants. He's on a little summer vacation at the lake country, and everybody else is mocking him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really painful. This is really where the evil all stems from.
Right.
Is him trying to get back at those people that made him feel so small and insignificant. So at this point, this is cruel for Palpatine. And after, Snoke is kind of smiling, smirking, and after Palpatine sees his whole young self, one tear kind of streams down.
Oh, a yellow tear.
A yellow tear.
Yeah.
Something that he has not felt.
Right.
In a long time. Yeah.
And Snoke says, there's been an awakening. You feel it.
But I think Palpatine quickly recovers a bit, and he's like, "Oh, these are definitely tears of my pain." And he like grabs the tear and he flicks it at Snoke, and it's like an acid tear.
Yeah, it totally is. And it hits his neck.
It's a force tear.
no.
Yes.
And it starts to spread, and it starts
God.
melting. Now, Palpatine says, "This is what you do not understand about the dark side. I know how to embrace my pain. I was bullied." I was bullied as a child on Naboo. And tears, acid tears, just start streaming from his face.
Oh, yeah.
And he's grabbing them up in his hands, and he's laughing and crying at the same time. I just wanted to be accepted.
Yeah. And Snoke is being hit with these tears.
Acid tears burning away his golden robe.
Robe is burning away. Snoke is very unhappy with
Yeah,
that.
And
Snoke.
his cheeks are burning into what we now see.
Yeah, a little more of the damage, yeah.
Snoke the Curious thought he was ready for Palpatine, but he wasn't ready for quite the level of hatred. But Snoke is clever. He thinks he's clever.
Right.
So I think he has at least a couple more tricks up his burning robe sleeves. So, Ken, I think Snoke tries something else. What do you think Snoke's agenda is at this point? Is it just to get the robe? Is it to get information? Is it to eliminate Palpatine as competition?
I think it is perhaps to eliminate Palpatine. He sees a vacuum of power. He also feels he gets that robe. Who knows? He can impersonate Palpatine, maybe.
Oh,
to the
yeah.
untrained eye. Vader he would have to deal with. Maybe Moff Gerard might be away. A lot of meetings about Death Star 2 going on right now. But I think Snoke does something completely unexpected, something Palpatine, who is very much in the Force in this moment. He's very much feeling the Force. Snoke reaches down, takes off a slipper, and throws it at Palpatine.
Oh, wow.
No Force powers, no anything.
He just throws it.
Just a slipper to the face.
Yeah, and I think because Palpatine is so busy throwing his acid tears, he doesn't catch it in time.
Right.
And just a dirty foot slipper hits him in the face, and it makes him pause. He's like, what sorcery is this?
Such a simple gesture.
And I think Snoke kind of waves his hands
Right.
like the asshole he is, and like, I threw my slipper at you. And then, while he's distracted, he does a force crush.
Ooh.
Where he basically brings his hands together.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen this before, where the internal pressure comes from either side, or the external pressure, and basically hits Palpatine from either side.
Yeah.
So he had been crying. Now he's like, and his hands go up, the tears shoot in the air. They fall back on his own face and burn him a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
His
More
own
damage.
acid tears, and his ribs crack.
Ooh.
And he is being force squozen.
Force squozen.
Oh, my goodness.
Force bear hug here.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not feeling good. I shouldn't have had that churro. How can he get out of that?
How can he
Oh,
possibly
boy.
get? Well,
Oh,
I
boy.
think it's been a long time since Palpatine has used his lightsaber, but he
Yes.
realizes perhaps Snoke is not as powerful in the ways of the lightsaber. And in fact, since Palpatine and Darkseid users in general say everything they're thinking, he just says this, much like Count Dooku, except for the opposite of. Well, no, he doesn't say the same thing. Clearly, this won't be decided by a knowledge of the dark side, but rather by my using a lightsaber. And he pulls it out.
Yeah.
In seeing that shocking red blade, Snoke falls back. Now, this room is covered in weird Sith weapons. What exotic Sith weapon? Not even Sith. Dark side, I should say.
Dark side, yeah.
Exotic dark side weapons. Ken or Jennifer, what exotic dark side weapon does Snoke call to his side?
He reaches out and quickly calls the Darth spatula, which the dark spatula, which was used by Darth Bane during his off hours to cook. It was a relic that was forgotten by the Old Republic, and perhaps Dan and Dave will cover this in their series of movies. You'll learn about it. I'm not making this up. This is the dark side spatula.
Sold by Williams and Sonoma.
Yeah. It's like a themed dark side thing.
Yeah.
For when your burgers are too light. And And
Yeah.
and it has like a vibro kind of,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
It emits poison.
Yeah.
And any burger cooked with it will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So he calls that to his hand, and suddenly there's an amazing dance of athleticism between these two wrinkled, hunched titans of evil.
Good old swashbuckle.
Yeah, and you know how Sidious likes to flip and screw,
Yeah.
screw jump. I shouldn't say
Screw
just
jump.
screw. He does the screw jump. But the spatula is there, and strangely, the spatula is so imbued with dark side power, it is not cut in twain by the crimson blade of Darth Sidious. No.
It's like one of those Magna Guard little vibro blades there.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So now we got ourselves a full on fight.
Yeah.
Lightsaber versus stick fight. Staff versus stick fight from Jedi. The Last Jedi, this is what we have. Spatula versus lightsaber.
And I think, in fact, Snoke calls this strange wooden object to him. And he connects the spatula on one end of it. And then Jennifer calls another item to attach on the other end of the wooden thing.
It is a dark side whisk. But when
Used by Mother Talzin. Yeah.
Yes.
Mother Talzin. So it actually, when he sticks it on the end of it, it actually just kind of starts spinning.
Oh, yeah.
But it's old. So
Yeah.
it's kind of spinning slowly.
Slowly.
But now he's got a double-bladed weapon.
Yes.
Yes.
The old whisk spatula.
The whisk spatula.
From the dark kitchens.
The dark 99-cent store. So he starts pummeling Palpatine.
Yeah. And these hurt. These burn, right?
Yeah.
And Palpatine is shocked that he can't get his blade up in time to match all of these blows. Snoke is absolutely getting the upper hand.
Yeah.
And now he's just being a jerk about it. And now he says, one of my favorite dark side powers is dance. And he does the move that he does to Kylo in Last Jedi where he electrifies the floor. Like, fingers are so obvious. And so now Palpatine is blocking blows. He's getting hit in the head with a whisk. He's getting his feet electrified. And he is dancing like in old westerns where they shoot at your feet and make you dance.
Dance, Palpatine, dance.
And he's he's having an experience that Palpatine doesn't normally have. So much anger and pain that he can't focus it all. He's being overwhelmed by, I think this is what we've come to, Supreme Leader's mix of horrible evil and just kind of whimsy. As represented by his golden robe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thermal underwear.
His thermal underwear. Like, you must remember, the dark side can be fun.
Yeah, Palpatine.
Oh my gosh.
Palpatine, he doesn't really know what to do. This is something he's never dealt with because usually anyone's afraid of him.
Yeah.
He's in control. He has foreseen the situation.
He did not foresee this, the truth behind the churro stand.
I think he's going to have to use his charm. He's not going to be able to beat him with might, or he's going to have to be manipulative.
Interesting.
I think that it's going to be intellect. If
He's going to try to master manipulate him. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pause our combat here.
Okay.
And decide who we think would or could win this battle. Neither of them are going to die unless we want to clone someone.
Right.
We don't need to go crazy like that. Who do we want to win this combat? Who do we think deserves to win this combat?
I will vote for Palpatine.
Okay.
I vote for Palpatine. My old loyalties die hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, is it just that? Just your old loyalties?
Yeah, it is. I like Snoke, but there's something about Snoke, especially when it revealed that he didn't take over the First Order through it. Like it just kind of, there was a weird, he worked his way through it. He didn't come in and much like Palpatine, I don't see Snoke as a Phantom Menace where I see Palpatine as. I think just as Palpatine's earned it more.
Yeah. Hard to be a Phantom Menace when you're wearing gold.
Yeah.
Jennifer, how do you feel?
I feel like Snoke, Palpatine's got to win. He's my OG, and Snoke is like a knockoff, or he's a wannabe. But to me, and there's just something so sad about seeing Palpatine going through this bizarre, eating the churro.
Yeah. Getting beaten by a whisk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad.
Yeah.
And we always root for the underdogs here. And in this case, surprisingly,
Palpatine is
the
underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. Palpatine is one of my very favorite characters. I love Supreme Leader Snoke, and I think Snoke has a lot of tricks up his sleeve because I think he understands the dark side in a different way than Palpatine does. But I think Snoke is still not as experienced. I don't think he has faced as many trials as Palpatine. Maybe whatever dark side history he comes from, maybe doesn't have the full lineage of the Rule of Two, where Palpatine can collect all that knowledge and all that experience. Yes, and he knows that the ultimate trick is mental manipulation. Like, that was a fancy trick that Snoke did to grab him by the brow and show him his painful memories, but it's really in the moment playing on what people want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Jennifer,
Yeah.
as we go toward the epic conclusion of this conflict, do you have an idea how Palpatine begins his manipulation of Snoke?
Yeah. So his arms are still up in the air, right? But they slowly go. And he starts clapping.
Oh, I like it. Let's say the whisk knocked the blade out of his hand, and his hands were up in the air, and he just started clapping above his head. Slow clap.
Yeah. And Palpatine says, well played. Very, very good, Snoke. And he realizes that the way that he's going to beat Snoke is by playing into his ego.
Nice. I like this a lot. I think Palpatine says, "You have done well. I set this up to test you." And this is news to Snoke. And a lie.
Yeah.
How does Snoke react to it? Does he take the bait right away?
Wait, you're here to test me? No, I've been watching you. You've got other things to worry about. You didn't even see me coming.
And I think Snoke starts saying, "There's so much you don't know about me. Let me tell you, I was born on the..." And I think Palpatine says, "I don't care about your backstory."
I don't need it. It upsets the momentum of this story.
Save it for a book.
Everything I need to know about you is right in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
And he says, "Good job. I will be in touch." And he turns around and he walks up.
He just walks out.
He starts walking out.
Yeah. I'll call you.
Oh my gosh.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
And Snoke is totally thrown by this.
What?
Power shift.
What?
Yeah.
And he's like, wait. He turns into like this like, crazed fan. He's like a fanboy. He's like, hey, wait, that's not the right voice.
Yeah. He's like, no. Wait, no.
No,
Yeah. He doubts himself a little bit. And then and I think Snoke says, wait. And I think Palpatine turns back and is like, "Oh, that's right. You wanted something." And I think he takes his robe off. And he's got, a dark jumper. A dark side little jumper underneath.
Yep.
It's not super scary, but it's not like he's nude.
Yeah.
This is not the Emperor's new clothes. This is the Emperor's jumper.
Yep.
And we can fully see it. I think he takes off his robe, and I think Palpatine walks over. He picks up his lightsaber. He picks up his cane, and he puts the robe like, you wanted that, didn't you? Did you want me to sign it?
Snoke says, "Well, yes, I do. Yes, actually, that'd be nice.
Yes.
For the memory."
So Palpatine cuts his own hand
Yes.
with his gnarled finger and dips it in, and he uses his blood, and he writes "Sheev"
And then
on the sleeve.
he looks at Snoke right in the eyes and says, "You'll always just be a fan with my robe."
And he walks out.
Wow.
And then he's just a few steps away, and I think Snoke is sitting there just kind of stunned.
Yeah.
And then I think the dime drops for Snoke that he's been had.
Yeah.
So what is he in that moment of truth, alone, staring at a signed robe? What does Snoke say to himself?
I must take over the galaxy in my own time, from the shadows, from the unknown regions. And I'll do it soon.
And as he's plotting this and thinking like, yes, that's the way to go. Suddenly, raining down on this temple is just all of the food, all of the vehicles. Sheev has gone out there in his jumper, and Sheev is in a back alley just going, and he's using all of this dark side power to basically rip up this town on Batu, this market, and just rain it all down. and it just crushes the building. There's land speeders. Yeah. There's an old Corellian freighter that comes lying down on it, and Palpatine's just alone in an alley in a jumper going,
There's a monorail.
There's a monorail, and then bing, 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 last thing, a churro.
A churro.
A space churro. Trickles down, womp rats. And Snoke is under the rubble.
Yeah.
Cursing it all.
Cursing it all. Waiting for his moment to get his revenge.
That's right. And credits. Wow. Any post-credit scenes, Ken or Jennifer?
I think the elevator in the second Death Star. Actually, no, we're still in Coruscant. The elevator in the former Jedi Temple in Coruscant. Boop, 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 boop. Door opens. Sheev walks back in. And his team of Imperial dignitaries, Luke Tashu, Simalu, Janice Gurjatis, the whole group. Minister Hayden, possibly there.
The whole gang.
The whole gang's there. They're waiting. And they're like, sir, master, our lord, what did you learn out there? And there's silence. Palpatine sits back down in his thing and just slowly says, the churros were okay.
That's good.
And they nod. What could it mean?
Oh, man, that's great.
And then it pops up on the screen. Palpatine will return. It's great. Great.
Oh, man.
That was very satisfying.
That was great.
Man, the force bubble. That's going to give me just so much delight and nightmares. Yes. I think I'm going to have a nightmare about that. Thank you so much for joining me, Ken and Jennifer, on this whole long adventure of doing Databank Brawl. And thank you all for listening. We will have more weird fights. We'll unlock some more big characters. And who knows, maybe Palpatine and Snoke will return, especially Snoke, when we learn the full details of where he got that robe. As always, if you have characters that you want to see fight, let us know. Use the hashtag Databank Brawl. We love hearing your thoughts and suggestions. Bunch of new characters rolling out from The Last Jedi, and we'll have a bunch of weirdos like Therm Scissor Punch from Solo soon, so Databank Brawl will keep fighting on. Ken, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Ken Napzok. That includes Twitch, and I just want to say thanks for making this show, Joseph, creating this show, bringing us this joy every week. It is the most out there thing we do in the most wonderful way, and it makes being a Star Wars fan, makes it fun going back. It ties back to when you're 7 years old, and you're looking at the figures on the wall, and you're thinking, what does that figure do? What would that figure be in battle? This is the heart and soul of Databank Brawl. So congratulations on 100.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being here with me and being. I could not do Databank Brawl without you.
Or whiskey.
I can drink whiskey without you. I mean, I don't like to. It makes me sad. I cry acid tears. Yeah. Jennifer, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the social media sites, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Jennifer Landa. Congratulations on 100 episodes, Joseph.
Thank you.
This is amazing, and we hope for 100 more. It's almost like a radio drama. That's the way that I love it. You know, it takes us back to old school fun.
Well, thank you. And huge thanks to you, Jennifer. You've been putting Databank Brawl episodes up on YouTube with some fun graphics. And they're just things of beauty. It's really fun having, doing the shows and then going back and looking like, what pictures did Jennifer add? Yeah. Wow, cool. Wow, that's awesome. And we also want to thank Tony Thaxton, who wrote our great theme music. You can check out his Patreon, where he writes a more fun, exotic Star Wars music in the spirit of Databank Brawl. That's on Patreon. You can, of course, check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can check out our ForceCenter merch at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. And, of course, find us on YouTube for those Databank Brawl episodes and some more stuff coming soon. For my own stuff, you can find my other podcast, Obsessed, wherever podcasts are listened to. I got live shows and comedy albums, like my comedy album Rebel Scum, that's all about Star Wars, on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Joseph Scrimshaw. You can like ForceCenter on Facebook and follow us on Twitter as at ForceCenterPod. And until next time, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him, I care. That's it for Databank Brawl.